Oh, you ready?
Whatever you are.
Yeah, we'll talk, you'll talk over that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right, we're gonna call the meeting to order. Thank everyone for being here this August board meeting. You have the agenda in front of you. We're gonna move the principals up after the disbursements so they can report, and then they can, had a busy day, so they can go early. Any other changes? We need to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, if you will, let's have a pledge. Pledge allegiance. Sorry.
It's over there.
It's over there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Know where the flag is? We can ban.
Next on the agenda, we've got the approval of the minutes from the July 6th meeting. Those have been previously sent to you. Have a motion to approve, have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. We'll move on to disbursements that were sent out. Anybody have any questions, let us know.
Does that complete our payments to the architects?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it should, but I just wasn't
Second.
Motion second to approve.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So I'm probably just missing this and I'm scrolling off. I can't find the utilities. I see a $5.66 Fayetteville Public Utilities, but I'm sure that's not our.
Yeah, that's not right.
Oh, no, I see it now. It's just, I was just
I was
missing.
gonna say.
I just. Cost cutting there. Thank you, Mr.
That
Chairman.
would be nice if we got it.
We got a motion second. All those in favor? All opposed? All right. Now, principals, Dr. Stiles?
We had a great day. It was smooth, and the students seemed to be happy to be back. We had all of our fourth grade teachers decked out in their Hawaiian gear. That was the big theme. So all the halls were decorated. We had all of our support staff there to greet the children, and I think that was, that meant a lot to the parents. So we had our tables set up, and then we allowed the parents to walk them to the classroom and see where the classroom was and say hi to the teacher. And some of the kids wanted to just walk on their own. They felt big, so they wanted to try it out. But Mr. Hopkins came and paid us a visit, and that was great. The kids were just in awe of him, so they enjoyed seeing him.
They couldn't believe somebody was actually a grown-up in their size.
But yeah, it was, I can't complain, it was a great day. We had about 59 present, and 29 absences. So we had to make a lot of phone calls. We have now 116 students going virtual, and 26 of those students are kindergarten students. 29 are first grade students. In second grade, there are 23, and in third and fourth grade, totaling 38. So we have discussed pulling maybe 2 more teachers to go virtual. And, you know, we do have teachers that would step up to the plate and do that, and I think with our numbers the way they are, that might be what we'll have to do, but it looks to me that even if we pulled another teacher, we would still have good numbers. Even if we pulled in kindergarten, we'd have 16 in a classroom if we pulled a virtual teacher.
And we feel it's important, she does, and we do too, that we do that in kindergarten. That's a very. Not lose any instruction in those large numbers, so we've got to be there.
Right.
She has a great plan. I'm very confident, not only in that plan, but also she's got a contingency if it gets larger for third and fourth also.
Right. Our teachers are great, and our parents trust them. You know, they just have concerns about coming, some of them have concerns about coming back, and that's understandable. So we've told them they're gonna get a great education either way. You know, we encourage them to be face-to-face. We love to see you back at the school, but we understand, and we'll do everything we can to make your virtual learning just as good. So.
Traffic this morning, how'd it go?
Well, the traffic was great with one grade level there. It was great. And exiting the building was beautiful. The buses rolled up. The students got onto the buses. It was perfect. So Fridays when you have traffic.
I just wanted to hear you one day say it was good, so that's good.
Yeah.
Did you have how many fourth graders riding the bus? Or was the bus running today?
Oh yeah, the buses were running. We had I would say about maybe 25, 30 kids riding the bus.
So they were able to keep their social distances, right?
Yes, they wore their masks, and we had assigned seats, so, yeah, there were no problems. Right when they walked into right when they got to school, we took their temperature, and no one had any temp. So the school day was great.
Good.
Yeah. It was, the staggered start has been great.
Yeah.
And we got to spoil the kids. We told them, you got the building to yourself. We're gonna give you everything you need. So, yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Very good.
That's a quick question.
Yes.
What is our pre-K enrollment?
About the numbers, but it was 48. So I don't know if we're still hovering around that number.
And that would be in the traditional, that's really all we're doing with pre-K, right? I assume we're not doing a virtual pre-K, or are we?
Yeah, I don't think we're doing virtual pre-K.
No, we're up to 57, 55
Okay.
pre-Ks right now. We pulled one of those teachers to help with virtual classes.
Okay.
So we only have 3 teachers right now. So
Okay.
they're at 17, 18 apiece right now.
Okay.
Now I got the numbers.
It was 38 totaling.
Okay, 38, right, okay.
All right, is there any other?
We do expect that number to grow as the week goes on, and that they choose to go to the virtual, that's just gonna happen. It's gonna get larger,
Right. We found that out today, so I think when third grade comes, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna get on the phone and call every family that doesn't show and find out if they're going virtual, if they filled out information or what their thoughts were on that. So. All right, it was a good day. I cannot complain.
That's awesome. Thank you, Dr.
It was good seeing all the kids again for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Ms. Jean?
So I just want to know that.
I think every time we get interviewed by the news station, we need a bonus, right? So I'm up for 2 right now. Messages if we could, some voicemail boxes were full, some numbers were not working. So we'll dig a little deeper tomorrow, maybe reach out to Askins to see if they have other contact numbers that we do not have as far as an information system. With our 6th grade, right now we have 37 that are going to be virtual. 7th grade is 31, and 8th grade we have 38. So that's where we are. Our day was very smooth. The kids were very anxious and excited to be back in the building. The teachers were excited. We have our teachers out front, some in the back and some in the front greeting the kids. I think that's very important. They've been out of the building for so long and they were eager to see their teachers. Temperature checks went well. We didn't have anyone with a temperature. The social distancing, cafeteria is great. We have plenty of room. Of course, like Dr. Stiles said, Friday we have overflow for the gym. We've got that set up as well. I feel like everything we've done as far as preparing for the building, we're ready for social distancing, and it's worked out well today. So our teachers have gone above and beyond to mark hallways, mark lockers for athletes. They're going to need, they're going to need places to put their things. The others do not use lockers, but they've got them spaced out and labeled for the athletes that need it. Anything that I've asked them to do, they have gone above and beyond to prepare. So, any questions I can answer?
My question was you.
I have a question. What's going?
We've had this every year.
Okay.
I've sort of always been the one to kind of call and locate them. We've had it every year. Normally what happens is sometimes the numbers aren't working. We can normally find other numbers because we always have, I don't know if y'all know, we have pink and blue locator cards that the kids fill out every year. So we have multiple numbers on those cards. So we'll dig those out from last year, and Askins will have them too, and we may find grandmother on the back, and we'll call and they'll be like, oh, they've moved to Lewisburg, they're going to be going to that school. We contact the school.
But we'll find out where they are.
Oh,
We're going to
always
find out where they are.
Maybe not by the end of the day, but by next week, we will have located every child. Yes, absolutely. If there's ever been one we can't find, well, there's never been one we cannot find. The schools are, especially this year with everything going on, we've normally gotten requests that for students that are moving, like one student called back, the parent called back and said, oh, they've moved to Lewisburg, that's where they're going, so we made a note of it. The schools are behind on asking for requests because we're all, sort of overloaded with everything we're doing. I have to say, we're not. Any ones that we've gotten, we've sent, but that's expected. It's every year. It does not concern me at all. We always locate those kids.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, and we won't quit until we do, I promise.
Athletics, what's going on in athletics? Why is it the middle school level? NCAA, what's?
Of course, our football they're practicing in the afternoons. What we're doing right now is having them drop them off at 3:15. Basketball tryouts are Friday for the boys because we've not been able to do that because of the new coach coming in and he had a baby and that kind of put us behind. Spencer's on top of that. He meets with the coaches regularly to make sure they're following all the protocols. They're still doing the temperature checks, asking them all the questions. They're on it.
Yeah, as far as you know, we're gonna be playing the sports just like.
Right, yes.
Well, maybe not just like, but we will be playing the season.
Yes, absolutely.
As far as
Just
you
a
know.
little bit further behind, but we'll
Sure.
be there.
Sure.
All right, any other questions, Jim? Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much.
Y'all have a good evening.
You too, thank you. Mr. McCormick? Hi, Mr. McCormick.
Hello, how is everybody?
How you doing?
Tired. Not even gonna try to lie. Numbers wise today, we had about 65 in the building this morning. Roughly we averaged close to 100 a grade, so that's about kind of in line with what I was seeing with virtual school. I, expected about 60 to 70 kids. Right now, out of that 9th grade, we have 22 that are going virtual, and then we had 13 that we still have to kind of figure out what their plan is. Some of them, my money's on, they're not really sure what they're gonna do yet, but we're hoping that a lot of them will show up on Friday. Some of them may have been just confused on what day to come, because it is different this year. I actually had a sophomore show up, bless his heart, rode the bus to school and had to let it know he came on the wrong day. But sweet kid, he understood. But you always got a little bit of that going on. Overall, projected enrollment for us is about 369, and about total out of the school, we're looking at about 90 kids that are probably gonna go virtual. So about in line with what we thought we might see. But it was a good day. A couple of kids got on the news, and I think it was 31, interviewed them. So that will hopefully be airing tonight or maybe tomorrow, I'm not sure. But had a couple of them got pulled for that, and all in all, it was a good day. A lot less moving parts when you only have one grade in the building, so.
This may be something that we incorporate in the future, bringing them in staggered. It has been a great benefit for the faculty, staff, and those students just to help them out. I mean, wow.
Well, you can have different conversations. Obviously, what a first day for freshmen needs to look like is different than what it needs to be for a senior, and being able to bust them out like that.
So we felt really good about that, but temp checks went well. Everybody checked good, and then, like I said, it's more just kind of figuring out what the new normal needs to be, working the kinks out, and Friday will be the test. That'll be the big day. But I think we got a good plan. I think we got good things in place, and everybody's working hard.
No, you are. Any questions?
Go rest.
Thank you. I think I will. I gotta go talk to Eliza. Of course, it was her first day in middle school today, so I'm sure if she's anything like me, she's probably talked Sarah's head off, and Sarah needs a break. So I better hurry up and get home. But thank y'all again for all that y'all do, and like I said, we'll figure out what it needs to look like. We'll get there.
And I'm not obsessed with athletics, but where are we? Because there's been so much talk about what NCAA and the governor.
Right.
Well,
that's a very good question. Can I answer that tomorrow when we see when it changes? No, I think we're in good shape. Obviously, football was practicing this afternoon. Him signing the executive order 55 obviously gave us a little more certainty as to what we need to be doing. As far as the games on Friday nights, there's still a lot of logistics we've got to work out between now and then. We just simply haven't had the time to put those feelers out, see. A lot of the district coaches are kind of talking and sharing ideas, which is good. So we're getting good ideas coming in. It's more just kind of figuring out what does that need to look like and what can we realistically pull off. The Order 55 also freed girls soccer up for them to resume practice. Volleyball is still going wide open. As far as we know with them, there's really not been any change, so we're expecting a season start date just like normal for them, and then we just build in the COVID measures as we need to. The biggest thing, we're seeing is the extra steps in disinfecting, obviously doing the temp checks, and then just kind of monitoring the kids and the exposure as it happens, when it happens, if it happens. But I feel like once we got the definitive, he's going to sign the order. I mean, that helped us out a ton, because a lot of the hybrid models and stuff they come up with, what they voted on was probably the best option they probably could have came up with, but pushing the season that late just creates a whole lot of additional challenges. So we've got some time built in now. It's a rush on the coaches, because they had one plan as far as starting a little bit later, and now they've kind of been put on the fast track. But our people are awesome. They'll do what needs to do to make it happen and to get it going, and I feel confident in that. So.
And they're talking stadium limitations of how much percent?
They've put out guidance. The biggest thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Hopkins, on this, heavily advocating the wearing of masks. Obviously, concession stands are a big priority, so they've kind of given some guidance and recommendations on that. The biggest things we're seeing are like prepackaged food, increasing areas where you kind of eliminate a lot of the lines, or you can create more space. The biggest thing is you don't want too many hands touching any one thing.
But there is no limitation as far as number in the stadium.
Right, there is not.
One time we thought they were going to go with 50% occupancy.
Or even lower.
There is not.
They recommended the 30, but I don't know that that's realistic.
So they did recommend some things. So we talked to, again, I used that superintendent group, the directors group there, and they brought up no one is going to do that. And some very valid point is the fact that, okay, if we limit the number of people in there, you're talking about, all right, what happens if the visiting team gets there before the home team, and they fill up the stadium, and you have to tell your home crowd that they can't even show up. All right, then what are you going to do with this family of 10 that has just traveled an hour and a half to watch their son play their senior year? Do you want to be the one at the gate telling them that you need to turn around and go home? So, that was one of the things they were like, we're not going to do that. We can pre-sell tickets was an option. So, that's not going to go well,
But even then, if you pre-sell tickets, say it's on the burden of the visiting team to sell their tickets, and if they don't, then that's still less tickets some of our fans potentially could have used.
Right, I was going to say, at that, so what we're going to do? Okay, they only get 100 tickets, that they get that. So what we're trying to do is we hope that the track will be in some shape to where we can open up larger seating. And where people could actually bring in lawn chairs, possibly he's talking about marking some areas off. So even though we would have our typical crowd, they could space themselves out. But the reason that I sent you the signage, there you think, why in the world did I send you signage? Is because we're hoping, in this world, we're going to let people police themselves. It's just not going to be a situation. I'm just telling you, we're not going to ask people, our staff, to go up there and go, sir, you're going to need to go out. That's just not what we're very good at, and it's not going to work well. I don't really want us to have a fight every game.
Yeah.
Is our schedule, like football, for example, is it posted on the website already?
It
kind of was in such flux.
Normally by this time of the year, absolutely it would be.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think it's been put up yet, simply because we were unsure about what it.
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
And the other part too is, you get into the whole, if you play one week and another team tests positive, somebody has to look at moving a game or a forfeiture. So even at that point, it's still a fluid document, and it's going to change constantly. And that'll be for all sports all year long.
When we start.
Yeah.
Coach Steve for the football.
What now?
Yeah.
We coached Steve the other night, maybe that our schedule.
Yeah, so it's out on that outlet. I don't know that we put it on our website, just because I'm not a big fan of putting something out there and then having to pull it back. So
the reason I say that is because if this is a TSSAA recommendation and we're choosing not to follow it, Is our first game away, I hope?
That's a
Here's
great
what I'm
question.
you see where I'm
No,
going.
I do see what you're saying, and I do that, and that's why I asked that question point blank.
I mean,
when
we've
the
been
group,
brutally
I was the one guy that asked that question because I'm the new guy, so I asked all the questions.
For following theirs, I sure don't want to not follow it, but maybe it's been a
I don't have any forces. It is the issue. We just couldn't figure it out.
I do think we are lucky enough. I do think our first game is away, but I will double check on that. Because, I mean, honestly, it's one of those things where somebody's got to figure it out. You know, hopefully we get some time.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
If not, we're going to change it.
Yeah,
It's going to be away.
yeah.
That's awesome.
But you're welcome. Any other?
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
All right, hey, appreciate y'all.
No, thank you for your hard work.
Thank you.
Hey, are you going to be at Tiger Hill in the morning at 5 a.m.?
Do I have to be on the news again?
I'm just kidding.
Because if not, I'll be there. If I have to be there, I may take a seat.
I do want to tell you that this is a great compliment to the facilities. The Channel 48 guy was there this morning, and he said he had never seen a place that looked more beautiful in the morning than Tiger Hill. So he actually has. Could he come back and do the morning show because of the view of what it is? So it's not even just for our place. He just thought it was a beautiful place to have a morning show. So they're going to come back in the morning just because it's gorgeous. I thought that was pretty cool.
It is.
If it's all right, everybody, we're going to get the supervisors in here too.
Sure.
Mr. Jones? They've been working hard.
Look at it, he looking good too.
Thank you. Good evening.
Well, we do.
It'll take me a second to adjust to this. It sounds like it's ringing back a little reverb in my head. My report tonight, basically, I'll just go over some of the transportation things that came up this morning. Just very small crowds on the buses. You know, with the limited number of students, we anticipated that. I think the max load we had was 6 on a bus. We feel like as we get to Friday and into next week, we'll get a more representative number of what it really is going to look like. Traffic was really good. Again, as we get into Friday and next week, we'll see what that holds. But the plan itself looks like it's going to work very well. We hold out hope that if it goes half as well as it did today at any given time, we'll be in great shape. Projects, all the projects are substantially complete with the exception of the doors. The doors are an ongoing kind of a situation. This is the 4th time the doors have been, the punch list date for the doors has been postponed. That project did have a deadline on it, so they are in penalty phase and have been for almost 2 weeks. So $500 a day. So while it is less than ideal, and I apologize for that, it's out of our control. The company is aware of it. We're talking consistently with Cope and with Lee Adcock and Associates. We hope to have it completed this week, but I would not feel comfortable giving you a report on an estimated completion date at this time. I'll only say that every day they delay is another $500 we can pocket back. The plumbing is pretty well signed off on. They're doing some tweaks for pressures and things like that. As students get in the building and people are utilizing it, they want to see loads. Same way exactly with the HVAC project at the middle school. They're programming basically at all the hardware and all the equipment is there and working well. They're just trying to go through the programs, making sure that it's optimized for the student populations, things of that nature. So they may be in and out doing that for a few weeks, but as far as conditioned air, it's there and it's on demand. Coach Giffen, who's been in that building for quite a while, I believe if he speaks, if you ask him the question, he would attest that it's very much improved situation with HVAC over there. Those are the things that come to mind. The field's complete. We're in the phase now where Lincoln Paving's looking at it to make sure we're hoping that the weather holds out and they can get started in the next couple of weeks, and that should not be a very long project. So we're hoping as home games start rolling around, again, we don't have anything set in stone, but it's looking favorable that we can have the blacktop surface done in a relatively short amount of time compared to some of the other projects. So we may be able to have this, during our football season for some home games. questions? Anything I can try to answer maybe that I didn't cover this evening? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Y'all have a great one.
Right, you.
Appreciate it.
Ms. Dodson? Ms. Dodson? How are you?
I'm well. How are you? So, a few things to share with you. I purposely waited till Claudia left to tell you that I'm anticipating our numbers in the virtual academy are going to go up just a little bit. Right now, I know the guys shared with you, we're at about 340 students, which is 25%. We're going to be, I'm sure you've noticed on our website, Monday, they're going to do the actual, next Monday will be registration at Ralph Askins if you want to come get your Chromebook, do everything. Tuesday, the middle school and high school chose to do it together. They're going to do it in the middle school cafeteria, so they'll be picking them up. Again, it's at about 25%. The interesting thing is because the calls come through me when they call the system, most people do say that they anticipate coming back in January. So they truly do see this as a COVID decision, which I think is a good thing. Of course, who knows what's going to evolve between now and then. New monies, I spoke to Mr. Byford. I had mentioned that. Also to Mr. Hopkins, we had asked, you guys are seeing things on the news just like the general public is. And said, the governor's saying we're sending down X amount of dollars. But unfortunately, they haven't sent anything down to say, how do you get those extra dollars beyond the CARES plan? According to Mr. Byford, now that information is continuing to come out. So we'll keep you posted on that. Hope you saw on Facebook, we were very excited. It came out of our discussions in here, and the principals were like, do you think Jack Daniels would have any hand sanitizer they would sell us? Well, when the dust settled, they gave us about $12,000 worth of hand sanitizer. So we were very excited. Marcia at Jack Daniels was fantastic to work with us. They actually had requests from Metro Nashville, Rutherford County, lots of big school systems, but Jack Daniels made a decision they wanted to, in her words, take care of their people, which was a 5-county area, because again, we're educating their employees' students. And so they chose to see it that way. According to Marcia, it's very possible they may, again in February, depending on what the situation looks like, they may be willing to do that for us again. So it's good to have somebody. They're actually on the chamber, so that was kind of the way that sort of worked out. In addition, please know the teachers very much appreciated our online professional development was very successful. We were able to do that through my benefits channel, and so many of the teachers, you would have thought they would have been disappointed not to have a big keynote speaker, not to have a big breakfast or lunch, but they actually appreciated it. And several of them approached me and said, some of them do, they've had health issues, they have loved ones that have health issues, and they appreciated that we were conscientious enough that we took that into consideration, and they were able to conduct and complete many of those things in that manner. And of course, beyond that, all of the professional development was on a small scale within the schools. So they did it within their buildings. Individuals were able to socially distance. They wore masks if they wanted to. And again, the teachers and the other personnel were very appreciative of that. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I just out of curiosity, what do you think it's going to look like for our work-based learning students?
Well, I'm going to be candid with you. I think that's going to be a really tough one, because I'll give you a specific situation. We've had tremendous success with our program where our students have peer mentored going to Ralph Askins. But what we've talked about is that's really not as feasible. And from that perspective, those would have been work-based learning students doing that. But if we're going to try to isolate and we're looking at having small groups, groups and looking at direct and indirect contact, all it would take is for one high school student to go over and interact with a child or vice versa. And so, we kind of made a conscious decision that we did not feel like now that was in the best interest. Another situation you're getting into and talking to your business and the industry, I'm sure you guys are aware of, places like Frankie and places like that have actually laid the adults off. So they're in situations where their adult employees are not necessarily going to be there. So it may be a situation where work-based learning looks more like community service.
They can still correct, are they going to be able to get those credits or?
Well, we have not necessarily had courses beyond cosmetology's entrepreneurship. I had a conversation with Brian today, and again, we've had conversations of even if we go home, CTE may need to look a little bit different because Brian needs students, you have to have cosmetology hours. So looking at the CTE may look different, and to receive Perkins funding, we have to have 2 programs that do that. So we're investigating and we're looking at that. I kind of anticipated from you guys, I haven't spoken to Lisa today necessarily at Montlow, but even dual enrollment. But I clearly anticipate, those will be similar to ours. When we go online, they'll go online.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc.
All right, thank you very much.
What, for a gift the size of this Daniel's gift to us, that is a real blessing in our system. What sort of appreciation from our system have you given?
We really blew them up on social media. I'm sure you noticed, and I was in contact with Marcia and Sandy also. We shared all of those pictures. The pictures you saw Sandy took. So I've teased Eric about we're going to make him famous because those pictures are going to Jack Daniels, and they're going to potentially utilize them as advertising as well in some of their
We
ads.
thought again about a card, a big one that our kids sign, maybe one that we made. I think that they would probably appreciate something if they could use that. I don't know any other gift that they would probably want from that other than what we can do is if they, I would, we got to be careful, don't make them a part of education, but anything that we can do to promote them and what they're doing at their civic activities, we tell them we want to be a part of it, and we'll be glad to help them with that.
And I'm old school, so a thank you,
Absolutely.
Thank you letter from you, I would think would be equal to some of their senior leadership there. I mean, maybe that is a cover letter for, like you say, something that the kids have done.
They were incredibly appreciative of us blowing them up on social media, especially unprompted, because guess what? They helped unload those trucks. And, I'm sure you guys appreciated, too, the collaborative spirit in that activity, in that it was both school systems. They brought the box truck here, but, both school systems were picking up off of our dock. They took no pictures. Jack Daniels, when Marcia actually came with them, they didn't take any. So they were literally going to do it, it was going to be an act of true humbleness. They had no expectation of getting anything, which again, that's true leadership in the community. Thank you very much.
Coach Given.
Hello,
sir.
Like the hot seat.
No, let me just tell you what I can assure you. It's been hot. Because I've said
It's good to see everybody tonight. And what I've been working on, of course, we've talked about it the last several board meetings. I'm working on our transfer to our new student information system called Skyward. The transfer's gone really well. We've had a lot of training. Last week, met with all the teachers at all the schools and trained each one of them on gradebook and how to do attendance. Planning to do a lot more of that training this week. And the smaller groups has been great because that's going to give me the opportunity to go and meet in small groups with different grade levels. So looking forward to that. Training the attendance clerks. working with the nurses, working with the cafeteria staff, because all of that is built into this program. And of course, it's new. So spent a lot of time working with all those kind of people. Matter of fact, I visited all 3 schools at least twice each today, going and meeting with different groups and asking how things are going. Met with some teachers today. Was in all the cafeterias a couple of different times. I've worked hard with Megan Hall, and she's done a great job as we're making this transition to this new program, because change is hard. People don't like change, but as we move forward, as it gets more familiar to them, I think they're going to enjoy it, and I think it's going to be a lot more successful from a data point of view as far as we're gathering numbers and things for the State Department and all those kinds of things. Let's see. Also been working hard trying to make sure we get all our third-party software hooked up, and I think Ms. Young's going to talk a lot more about that with the different textbooks and curriculums that we have this year for the virtual learning and all those kinds of things. So that all ties into the student information system. So been working with Mr. Bedingfield and Mr. Mullins and Ms. Young on that, trying to make sure we get all that data transfer back and forth, and it's gone really well. It's been very successful. We're very close to completing the process, so I'm proud to say that. So that's what I've been working on. It's been a lot of days. Coach McCormick calls me the guy in the matrix right now, because I've been, living in data, trying to get numbers straight and make sure all our data's correct. So, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
I like to say, Mr. Giffen, I followed him around the other day, and
yes, sir.
He was teaching classes. I made the comment that I a long time. I'm sure you've been up there in front of the class like this.
Yeah.
Much as you have.
Today was bittersweet. It's been a long time since I haven't been, there for that first day of school. But I want to say all 3 schools, like I said, I was there multiple times today. I don't think it's ever, of course, there's smaller groups, but as far as organization, watching the staff have, things were planned out to a T. I rarely saw a moment where something wasn't already, organized, and everyone knew exactly where to be. It was great. The staff did a fantastic job today. So I really want to congratulate Coach McCormick and Ms. Jean and Dr. Stiles for a fantastic job they did today. So just wanted to say that. I thought it was very important.
Right.
So.
Thank you.
All right. Hope y'all stay healthy. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ms. Davis? Hi, ma'am.
So as you can imagine, special populations is super complicated right now, but we've been working really hard, taking a look at guidance from TDOE. We attended a virtual law conference just to make sure we all of our bases were covered, but we have created the special populations reopening plan, and I think that Mr. Hopkins shared that to you. There have already been some tweaks to that, some additions to that, so I'm happy to resend it if you'd like me to. So that includes our students with disabilities, as well as our English learners, students experiencing homelessness, and students in foster care. So there are some caveats in the plan for all of those students. Basically, the reopening plan, I know you're probably curious about services for students. Our first option for all kids is we want them to be in-person services. We just feel like that's the most effective. So even our kids who are choosing virtual from the beginning will have the option to bring their kids during their designated time to get those services in person. If that doesn't work out for whatever reason, they do have the option to log into those services virtually. So the speech group will be going on, and those kids can log in virtually. Also within that plan, we're offering from the get-go a hybrid option for our students with disabilities, because some of them just need to cut back on their exposure, or for whatever reason might choose to come a couple of days a week. Some kids, we're trying to set up services where a child who, say, gets occupational therapy and speech language therapy, if we can set those therapies up 2 days a week, they can come 2 days a week and then stay virtual for 3 days a week, depending on schedules, of course. We added in an additional option for OT and PT. Lincoln County and myself met with the Patrick, who offers those services to our kids. We contract with the Patrick for occupational and physical therapy. They have agreed to let kids also come into their facility. So if it's a child who's virtual and feels better going there as opposed to going to the school, then they're willing to meet them there, and they've got lots of social distancing and cleaning protocols in place there as well. They've opened up their gym and set up therapy sessions with partitions and spread out, and so they're doing social distancing there. We are working on, my staff, starting today, because we really want to, I heard somebody say earlier about using this opportunity to train the kids and get your hands on them. And so my staff is working hard to get some new present levels so we can make plans for the year while they're in the building. OT started today seeing kids for evaluations, OT and PT, because same thing, they want to do those in person. And so any kids that were on campus today, they started with them. The staff's working to create contingency plans for all kids, because obviously some services are going to have to look different in the pandemic. So every child will have a contingency plan, which will be just the team sitting down with the parents and saying, your child has 4 hours of direct services with a special ed teacher every day when they're in person. That's not really possible virtually, but what can we do in place of that? These are some resources that we can give the parents, and then the parents can decide whether to waive specific services or it can look different, and we're okay with that kind of thing. So our goal is to have contingency plans in place for all kids so that when we go virtual, we already know what those services are going to look like, and the parents are already in agreement with that. So those started today. We also have created a virtual consent form because I had a lot of concerns about confidentiality going virtual. We're using Google as a system, which is FERPA approved, but we do have it's actually a consent and an agreement whereby the parents agree. The parents agree that they understand that there will be potential exposure of their children because there will be other people in the home, and especially with some of our little ones and our nonverbal kids, and our most severe students are going to need help logging on and working on things with the teacher, so the parents could potentially be right there. So they're agreeing that they understand that, and then they're also agreeing not to share any of that information with other families as well. So that it's just kind of an explanation of what it looks like from both sides. You're going to have to understand it could happen for your child, but at the same time, understanding that you're not going to share any of the other child's information. And that's all I have on my list. If anybody has any questions, I know it's a lot. I've been working hard. And I'm happy to resend if you want me to. We've got a welcome letter as well. So when we sit down with families to talk about the contingency plan, and it just kind of lays out the schedule for the child, like this is when the services will be offered. But schedules are a work in progress.
I may have sent you, I think I may have sent y'all the welcome letter also. I think I sent that to them.
But if anybody has any questions, or feel free to call me or email me.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Young?
I guess I'm last.
How you doing?
I did want to let you know we had about half of our pre-K students at school today. The teachers have made some shifts in how they're doing things in their classroom. Where we've had open free centers, children will stay in the center for 20 minutes, and then the teaching assistant cleans those centers while they do a large group activity, and then they go back to choose their stations again. We're doing everything we can to keep the children as safe as possible. We did change a little bit about our arrival this morning. We actually go out on the and meet them at the car. And that way the parents aren't in the classrooms. And we take the child's temperature right there at the car, and if there's an issue, we send them back home right then. So the pre-K teachers and I have worked a lot the last 2 weeks trying to make sure that we have safety precautions in place for those babies, because they really don't like those masks, but actually a couple of them wore them most of the day. So, we told them it was up to them. We've working on getting some other opportunities for them, face shields and maybe some of the little gaiters where they pull up over their face, wear around their neck. Offer those to parents just for their safety. Teachers were excited at the end of the day that they felt like they had a good start to pre-K today, and they're excited about that. I'll talk a little bit about textbooks. Steve talked about third vendor integration. This time last year, we were about 70% of our textbooks were matched with our children online. I'm happy to say as of today, we have one vendor that we lack, and Steve and I have a meeting tomorrow at 12:30 with that. So by next Monday, every student's textbook should be virtually available if we do have to go home. And I hope to, at the next board meeting, to show y'all what it looks like from the children's side of things. They have single sign-on with Clever. A small child would have a QR code. They put it in front of the camera. It takes them to their Clever page, and there's everything that they need. All of their textbooks, Google Classroom, anything a child would need would be right there. Our fourth grade and up, they use their email address to log in. So, but I do want you to see that. To me, it's been kind of amazing. The courseware for our virtual classes, we finished that integration this afternoon. We'll double check all that in the morning to make sure that everybody has access to that staff-wise, and then they'll be pushing that out to the students next week. We had a great day with new teachers. We actually had 2 days with them. We had one day with Doug Eaton, our technology consultant. He spent one day just working with them about the technology and the event we have to go virtual, and got all of our new teachers prepared for that. And then there was a day with us doing general housekeeping things. Joanne was there, Regina, myself, and Christine, and we just went over a lot of the housekeeping things we have to do to start school. One other thing that I just can't thank Steve enough for the integration of getting this done with our new student management system. We will be ready for a gap assessment starting probably next Monday. And what I mean by a gap assessment, we'll be doing a standards assessment that would be a previous year test. We'll be doing that second through high school. Second grade through 8th grade will take an assessment that they would have taken the previous, it would have been the end of year test at the end of the previous year. So second grade would take a first grade test and going on up. Our EOC courses will take the full EOC course that is blueprinted just like the state assessment would be. And that will give us as teachers an idea of where the gaps are. Where do we need to go back and fill the gaps for those students that were out from March to August 1st. So we have everything set up for us to do that. At Askins, we will do that on paper and pencil. At the middle school and high school, we will do that on our Chromebooks. So we'll have as soon as we finish, we'll have a 48-hour window turnaround that we'll have all that data back and ready for us to start using to make instructional decisions in our classrooms. So that's what I've been doing. Not much of anything, but.
Thank you for what you do.
Well, are there any questions?
Any questions, Michelle?
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
All righty, we'll move on to our committee reports. I'll go through these kind of quick. Facilities transportation, I think Eric brought us up today. For sure. Is there anything to add to that?
Well, any update on the FEMA?
I have asked, and they still are in the holding pattern. Nothing is new. And I
I'm
did ask
sure
the question.
they're like most federal agencies, they're not at the office, so
That's true.
it's just curious.
I will give you an update on that. I did speak with, I happen to know the Encore people personally from a previous relationship, and I spoke to them about possibly coming in and being a partner with us in our new building and setting up a shop inside there. That would be a great benefit not only to our athletes, but also to our employees, but also again to our community, because we could have a billable clinic that would operate inside our facility, which would mean we would have a trainer on staff all day, every day, which, you know, for one of our employees had knee surgery, they could literally go walk right down there and get that done. And also one of our athletes, point guard, turned his ankle obviously on a Tuesday night. Wednesday morning, he's right there at school, getting that done. And we did that in previous places I've been, and we just give them space. And so they met and they were very, very excited about the opportunity to have that. So when we build, that might be something that we will look at adding, a great training room that they could use.
Great idea. Awesome. All right, on finance, I don't think we have anything. We're good there. Then, okay, insurance and policy. We've got 3 policies that we reviewed at the work session. These are COVID policies that we need approval on first reading. We're going to waive the second reading, whatever, due to the emergency of it, timing of it. Everything needs to be in place. So we'll take each policy we need to approve. First policy is policy 5.3051, the FFCRA leave. Do I have a motion to approve?
You need to talk to them. We're going to waive it.
Unless you have questions.
Unless you have questions, but.
Well, I make a motion that we waive the policy. Call the number from our
5.3051.
Waive it on now.
Waive the second reading.
For the second reading, yes.
Approval on first reading. I have a motion.
Second.
Have a second. All those in favor? All righty. Then we move on to policy 5.1151, telework during emergencies.
Right, you read it there, and it talks about the designated employees. And it talks about the director of school may require an employee to telework if the duties and responsibilities of the position are required during times of emergency. And specifies that employees approved for telework shall maintain a dedicated and safe work environment. And an employee who teleworks shall not allow anyone other than district employees to utilize district-provided services or equipment. I make a motion that we accept policy 5.1151 on first reading.
Have a motion?
Is that second reading or first?
First reading, we're going to wait second. We're going to wait second reading too, Ms. Jones.
Okay, first reading. All right.
So I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? All right, the third and final one is policy 1.8011, emergency closing.
Yes, emergency closings. And it talks about closing schools in the event of hazardous weather, a public health emergency, or any other emergency that presents a threat to the safety of students, staff, and members of school property. And as soon as a decision to close school is made, the director of school shall notify the public media and request that that announcement be made. And then it goes on to talk about employee responsibilities. In the event of an emergency that requires closure of a school building or group of schools, is that what was added? Okay. Group of schools or the entire district, the director of schools is authorized to continue to pay employees who are not able to physically report for duty as a result. Then it talks about employees as essential. Are there any questions about that? I think we answered that.
I think we're good.
Good on that.
George, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I make a motion that we accept policy number 1.8011.
And approve it on first reading.
First reading, yes.
Have a motion?
Second.
Have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Very good. Thank you, Ms. Eby. All righty, we'll move on. Mr. Tompkins, Superintendent, we got a recommendation for tenure, several. I think we have to take these individually.
You do individual?
Yeah, we got a motion. Okay, individual, okay. All right, first one is Melissa Good.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
I'll be
Second.
yeah.
Those in favor?
Aye.
All right, Katie Thompson,
So moved.
Second.
motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Don Adams,
Moved.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Betsy Davis,
So moved.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Sarah Parks Branch,
So moved.
Second.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Ashley Blake Smith,
So moved.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Keith Van Hooser,
So moved.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, Cindy Young,
So moved.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Melanie Pickock,
So moved.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Righty, and last is Daniel Henderson,
So moved.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, very good. All right, thank you all for that. Thank you for that. And I know we have disciplinary hearing recommendations.
Yes.
Authority, disciplinary hearing authority. I think that's what's sent out to us too. Yeah. We have to approve that.
Yes. Yes, you have to do that, and we need that done now.
Okay, got a motion?
So moved. I mean, motion.
No, we got a motion, got a
Okay,
second?
second.
All right, got a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, very good. All right. And I know we've got a list of the resignations, and I guess we have a tenure teacher that we have
Scott
to.
Posey, yes.
Okay,
It's
Scott.
a
We have to approve that, right?
Just is,
Just
yes.
is, okay. I'll entertain a motion to, Mr. Posey.
But I might note that she is just the fast part. You know, she's a teacher. She's not able to do fast.
Anymore,
I
yes.
just wanted to make note of that. So she isn't resigning from the system. She's just not able to do fast because she has,
I thought we hired.
she has taken a 1-year-old child in her family, so she's
Okay.
not able to do the after school
Sure,
part.
got you. So we need a motion to approve on Scott Posey. He's a tenure teacher.
So moved.
Have a motion.
Second.
Have a second. Accept resignation. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, okay. And then we have some new hires.
Yes, you know, Kilo moved to assistant principal, so Julie Ezel was hired in her place. We're glad to have her. Jason Bertram is replacement for Craig Carmichael, and the others, Kristen Wheeler, special ed teacher at Askins, and 2 FMS teachers. One is Mr. What was his name? Satterfield. He never did get his license renewed, so, and the other one is Mr., the one who just, Posey, Mr. Posey.
Okay, there you go. Gotcha.
And then the math and geometry teacher at the high school. So those are the new hires so far. I think we're finished, except for the position in the high school. Everything else is in place.
Okay, very good. Okay. All right. So, everybody good?
Yeah, I'm good.
No, I'm good.
Everybody good? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, very good.
Real good.
All right. Next board meeting, I know we don't meet on Labor Day. What do y'all want to do? Do y'all want to meet later that week? Y'all want to meet the next Monday? That's my first request. What do y'all want to do? Y'all good for next Monday, the following Monday, just to make it simple, learn? Y'all good with that? Okay, we'll go, what date is that? 14th, all right, September 14th, for the next board meeting, and September board meeting, and if we could, and And I know I sent out a message or whatever. Can we have it at one of the schools, just so we can see the construction and whatever, whether it be asking for high school, y'all just make a decision, let us know.
Yeah.
Which one? I think, yeah, pictures look great, and
We do
whatever.
one at the high school, one at the high school, one at Askins.
Yeah, let's, yeah, man, if we can do that, I think that'd be, everybody okay with that? I'd say so, it gives us an opportunity to see it, whatever, and I know, I mean, there's a little issue with some doors or whatever, so I think that'll be fixed by that time. The pictures look fantastic, so, come along good. So, yeah, if we can do like September 1 and then October the other, that'd be fair enough?
I think that's a great idea.
September at Askins, isn't what you're saying?
Well,
Mr. Hopkins can check with them and see.
Yeah, he'll let us know.
Let me talk to them, see, draw straws, whatever we gotta do, we'll get that. That'd be great.
That gives an opportunity to do that. I think it'd be really good. Really great.
They like to do that too.
Yeah, and we've done that pretty well every year. We've gone out
They like
to a facility, so I think, we didn't want to do it today. We have plenty going on.
Yeah. Not that.
All right.
Well, that would be very bad.
No stress going on, now, we talked about Friday, maybe being at schools waving at the children in our masks there. Y'all okay with that? Y'all divide up?
I'll go to the high school.
Okay.
I'll probably go to high school since I have a senior. It's a rather emotional start to the school year for the Clark family. It's my baby.
But do you want to,
So I'll probably
be there in high school? Okay. All right, okay.
I hope I can be there, I got a doctor's appointment.
Okay, where you going to go, Miss Joyce?
It doesn't matter.
You gonna go,
Middle school?
you gonna go to that, you gonna go, what, you going to middle school?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Tell us.
Just assign me.
Okay, we'll go to Athens.
Okay.
You got to ask because you didn't walk.
You just walk over there.
I'll go there. And I'll go to middle school and I'll text Sarah, see if she wants, whatever. What time are we supposed to, 7? Is it 7:15? By 7:15, I guess by 7:15 be good enough?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, very good. All right, go ahead. Mr. Clark, you.
Sure. So, and I guess the goal will be not to impede the traffic flow and no hugs and the traditional welcomes, but ability to see the parents and wave. I think there's a lot of appreciation there.
And the teachers too, they appreciate it, just everybody doing it.
I don't know if we even knuckle bump or elbow bump. I mean, I probably stay right around it, whatever. Just, I think it's, they see smile through the mask and wave. That's right. Everybody good with that? Yeah.
Are we gonna wear our t-shirts?
Well, wear something city schools.
I'll wear something Tigers.
Yeah, whatever, Tiger City Schools, whatever, Miss Joyce. I think we got some garb. You good? All right.
I was going to mention this time of year, of course, with all the events going virtual or getting canceled, I spoke with Dr. Grissom at TSBA this week about fall district meetings, which we, I guess, are signed up for officially. Yeah, so she had actually, the conversation started with Dr. Grissom calling me to say that the host school for one of the West Tennessee schools had called to say, I don't think we want to host. So she decided to just call all the schools that were hosting to say, are you in or do you prefer not to? And when she called me back, that was the only school that balked. All the others said, no, we want to, we've got a place to spread out. We can social this. The numbers will be down, that going in. And so as far as we know, fall district meeting for the South Central District is still Thursday, September 24th. And I'll have to figure out where it is because I didn't write that down. But it is the Thursday night, the 24th. I'll shoot an email out to everybody with the details. Miss Scott has it, but it's something not on the tip of my tongue. And probably not yours either. We'll get it out to the board. Of course, that could change. But in that case, the school that was kind of queasy about hosting, Tanny called another district, they jumped on it in a heartbeat and said, we'd love to host it. So it's the comfort level is just there. And so convention is still on the books.
That's what I was going to ask you. But
we'll see.
It's at Franklin County.
Franklin County, okay, yeah, so that's not a far.
Ours is Franklin County.
Yeah. Anyway, so convention in November and the leadership and all that is officially still on the books. Of course, Opryland is really hoping it happens, but time will tell. So I'll obviously pass along any updates I get as soon as I get them.
Very good.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Anybody else got anything? If not, we stand adjourned. Y'all being here. Good thing, Mr. Wright.
How's Katie?